With the final game of the regular season soon upon them, all eyes were on the Detroit Lions. They had a stellar season where they lost only 2 games to work themselves up to an NFC best 14-2 record up until Sunday. The only problem was, the Minnesota Vikings also had a stellar 14-win record. And so, with the division and first place in the NFC tied going into the final week of the regular season, both teams would be watching each other's matchup intently to see who would be crowned Kings of the North. So, who is each team playing exactly? This was set to be absolute cinema. No time in NFL history has a division and conference champion been decided by the final game of the regular season. In no time in NFL history have there been 2 14-win teams in the same division. And never before have we had a 14-win, 5th-seeded team in the playoffs as a result. But this is the NFC North. And with the exception of the Bears, these teams know how to win football games. The usual story behind the Lions persisted. Crusty pundits with zero ball knowledge went on and on about how the Lions defense was too banged up to stop Justin Jefferson from putting up big plays, as if the best receiver in the league doesn't do that to literally every other defense. America, unlike the very un-American media, was in favor of America's team, the Detroit Lions. One thing was for certain. With a matchup between 2 of the most explosive offenses in the league, this was shaping up to be a shootout. Except it wasn't. The Lions and Vikings traded punts to start, and then the Detroit Lions on their second possession scored a touchdown with an electric 25-yard run by Jahmyr Gibbs. The impotent Vikings offense couldn't respond with a score of their own and punted. Then the Lions punted it back to them because Lions like to play with their food. The punt from Jack Fox wasn't the usual bomb for 60 yards, so the Vikings got the ball at the 50-yard line. Sam Darnold and his Vikings offense took the ball into the red zone and failed to score 4 times in a row before turning it over on downs. Son of a bitch! My glorious savior Jared Goff came out to lead another drive to the end zone, and threw the wonkiest interception you'll ever see, but it wasn't his fault though.
Oh, I can't believe you've done this.
The Vikings got the ball back on the 7-yard line. You'd think they'd throw a touchdown to Jefferson and tie the game up, right? Wrong. They threw to him 3 times in a row and missed each one as this Lions defense, the same defense that was apparently too injured to contain Justin Jefferson, bottled him up with some aggressive pass rushing and incredible play from cornerback and former high school rival Amik Robertson. The Vikings settled for a field goal instead. The Lions turned the ball over on downs after going for 4th down, which by the way it didn't look like they even bothered asking Dan Campbell by this point for fear of making eye contact with his massive balls. And the Vikings again took the ball into the red zone and failed to score a touchdown, and instead settled for a field goal to make it a 1-point game.
Someone cooked here.
On the kickoff, however, the ball sailed out of bounds, giving the Lions great field position with 20 seconds left in the first half. Glorious leader Jared Goff did what he does and got Master Bates in field goal range to take a 6-10 lead at halftime. The Vikings started the second half with a drive down to the end zone where they again failed to score a touchdown, at which point I began to wonder if this team is cursed. They are. My main man Jared Goff took the field at his own 2-yard line and immediately threw an interception down the field, but it wasn't his fault though. The Vikings struggled to move the ball down the field and settled for a field goal. Little did they know, but this would be the last time they would score that night. The Lions then drove the field to score a touchdown on 4th and goal with an elite throw from Jared Goff to Sonic in the end zone. Just look at that poise, the confidence. Look at how tight that spiral is. The Vikings tried to answer back and instead missed a field goal, so the Lions decided to remind them what scoring a touchdown looks like with a Jahmyr Gibbs lightning strike into the end zone. The Vikings didn't learn a lesson because they're gay, so the Lions gave a follow-up lecture with another Sonic flash into the end zone. With the score at 31-9, the remainder of the game became a formality, an extended on-field reflection session for the Vikings to contemplate just how fraudulent they really are. This game was crazy despite the score. There were multiple misplays by both teams that could have changed the energy of the entire matchup, but America's team prevailed. Credit to the Vikings, though. They've put together an incredible team behind a fantastic head coach, and Sam Darnold's revival is very similar to my Pookie Bear Jared Goff's revival last year. So long as the Vikings re-sign Kevin O'Connell as head coach, which they bafflingly haven't done yet, they will be a solid second seed in the NFC North for years to come. I think I speak for all Vikings fans when I say, don't fuck this up! Whatever amount of money that man asks for, pay it. The Vikings front office better not screw themselves by not bringing back O'Connell and Darnold. But as a Lions fan, it's been surreal. Last season, everyone doubted my team even when they were so close to going to the Super Bowl, and that doubt carried over to this year. People were doubting the Lions would be any better this year, then they doubted the Lions when Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg, then they doubted the Lions even more when they had 18 players on IR. But every time, the Lions proved them wrong, and this one was the icing on the cake. Nobody can question the Lions' legitimacy as a Super Bowl contender because they are now the undisputed first seed in the NFC. And even though I never had a doubt about it, it's still crazy to hear out loud after all the years of abuse and failure this franchise has been through. The only downside to this is that I won't get to see the Lions play next week.
They tried to bury me, dog, but they can't bury what come from the dirt.
I am so erect right now.